Rossi out of Pensacola, New Jersey, in the incredible Jersey Outlaw Ford, a relative newcomer to the ranks of Monstertruck racing. He'll be the first man out on this 900-foot-long horseshoe-shaped track and qualifying for a 6-truck field that will come back for side-by-side eliminations. The objective here on this course is to go down a straightaway over a set of 3 different cars, make a hard right U-turn in a relatively narrow area, come back over several different sets of cars to the start-finish line. And indeed, this is against the clock. Like I said, Nick Rossi, a relative newcomer to this sport, but with a beautiful, beautiful truck. The Jersey Outlaw 1988 Ford pickup, utilizing a 472 cubic inch carbureted Ford wedge motor, standing over 11 feet 8 inches high, weighing 14,000 pounds, and costing over $95,000. And a hard landing there, as he has already made the right-hand turn. A lot of smoke coming out of the engine compartment. He may have hurt the power steering unit. Looks like a little bit of power steering fluid sprayed on the hot exhaust headers, creating that smoke display there. As he moves up to the last set of cars, he'll get a chance to pace the field here as far as the lap times go. Up and over the last set of cars, and obviously Rossi is attempting to take it a little bit easier, since he too can see the smoke coming out of the engine compartment from up 12 feet in the air inside that Ford's cockpit. So Rossi crosses the start-finish line, and here is the time, 1 minute 25.32 seconds. That'll be the mark to beat. And here's the Big Red from Nebraska, being driven by Gary Schramm, a 1976 Chevrolet, using, of all things, a 350 cubic inch small block Chevrolet power plant. Schramm hanging out of the driver's side window, negotiating the next set of cars before making that hard right turn. And as you can see, Schramm is not in any great hurry to do any damage to this incredible 12,000-pound lightweight racing truck. The $110,000 machine makes that right-hand turn and now prepares to come down the home stretch, as it were. He'll hit 2 different sets of cars and land against the clock, and having some problems with that particular set of machines. Now, finally getting all 4 wheels down on the ground, he'll make tracks to the last set of cars. Top speed on these machines very seldom exceeding 35 miles per hour because of the gearing. You can see Schramm slowing down for the last set of cars now, making the hit quite nicely, as a matter of fact. He'll cover that long line of crushed cars, hit back down to the ground, and stops the clocks at 1.04.13 seconds. So that'll be the mark to beat, 1.04 seconds at this point. And here's the hometown favorite here at Byron Dragway from right up Illinois Route 47 in Woodstock, Illinois. This is Rob Fuchs's Ford, called First Blood. Another relative newcomer, but you can hear the fans already cheering for the 28-year-old professional monster truck driver as he is on a ride. No question about it. Look at that tremendous airborne jump. The crowd loves it, as Rob Fuchs wants more than anything to beat the big names here in his hometown. Whoa, spinning the machine out on that turn. That is going to cost Rob some time. But he gets back in the throttle immediately to try and make up the distance. Good landing, bouncing around a little bit. He nails the throttle again in the 466 cubic inch Ford truck. Look at the speed coming up on these cars. Good hit, airborne. The crowd loves it. He lands and stops the clock at 46.02 seconds. A little bit of body damage on that hard landing. You can see the front end up in the air, but the crowd is thrilled with the #1 qualifying performance of the Woodstock, Illinois youngster. Let's take a look at the slow motion replay and see if we can figure out where that front end damage came from. 6 feet in the air. He lands it very, very nicely. Taking a rough ride in the cockpit. He comes up on the dirt berm, nails the throttle. The front end comes up, and he starts sliding towards the concrete retaining wall and hits it. You can see the right front wheel taking a hard turn. That's why the front end came up, as obviously Rob Fuchs has actually driven into the concrete retaining wall. Sure enough, there he is pulling it off the wall. You can see the front end body panel damage, and hopefully there is not too much chassis damage that will keep him from coming back around in the first round. Meanwhile, we continue qualifying with a very, very unique piece of equipment. From St. Louis, Missouri, this is Ray Perkowski, and the machine he calls Big Tow. Believe it or not, a fully operational Ford tow truck, weighing in at an honest 20,000 pounds, one of the heaviest trucks you'll ever see. I think that was actually one of the seat backs coming up in front of Perkowski's face there when he landed. He'll drive it down to make the U-turn, brings it up to the last set of cars. The 20,000-pounder in the air, landing on the third and final car. Now put it back on the ground and make that turnaround. The supercharged big block Ford power plant at this incredible machine out of St. Louis. He owns, by the way, a major towing service in St. Louis, Missouri, Superior Towing. and therefore uses this machine not only for monster truck racing, but as a heck of a promotion for his own business. Nailing the throttle one more time to get it up and over the first set of cars on the back straight, and now landing it for the last ride down to the start-finish line. The mark to beat, 46 seconds by Rob Fuchs's first blood. I don't think Perkowski has to worry about qualifying number one at this stint. I think he just wants to get it around and into this field. 7 trucks, by the way, trying to qualify for this 6-vehicle open show. Perkowski lands the machine, takes it across the finish line nice and easy. As a matter of fact, an excellent elapsed time. 1 minute, 14.72 seconds. An excellent run, and Perkowski should qualify well into the field. Here's the Night Stalker, a full-body 1979 Ford F-250 Ranger XLT Lariat from Stoughton, Wisconsin. Steve Combs doing the driving of another big heavyweight, 19,000 pounds for this full-bodied Ford, using a supercharged 460 cubic inch Ford power plant. He moves it up to negotiate this tricky set of 3 cars before making the turnaround to the back straight. Slowing down to negotiate them cleanly now. He'll move it up for the U-turn. A $100,000 vehicle and a brand new entry in the United States Harvard Association National Event Trail. Without a doubt, one of the cleaner Ford products we've seen in quite some time. Looks like he may be having some problems there negotiating that U-turn and moving up to the next set of cars very, very slowly. It certainly appears as Coombs nails the throttle. Yep, there it goes. We've got problems with the rear drive shaft, as you can see. Apparently, in hitting the last set of 3 cars before the U-turn, a drive shaft problem was making literally the rear wheels ineffective at that point. He hits this set of cars, goes up at an angle, but apparently there was no power going to the rear wheels. He lands a little bit sideways, and at least one of the rear wheels was receiving power, but not much else, and he'll shut it down well before the finish line area. Unfortunately, an incomplete run for Steve Coombs and the Night Stalker. There you see event director Ken Donay getting ready to hook up the Wisconsin Ford. It looks, however, like Coombs may be able to drive it off the track under his own power. A tough break for a newcomer, but I think you'll be seeing a lot more from the 19,000-pound Night Stalker Ford in future U.S. Harvard Association competition. Another relative newcomer to monster truck racing is this young man, Dave Stasic, in the Mr. Twister 1987 Ford short bed pickup. A short wheelbase monster truck, lightweight at 12,000 pounds, built for monster truck racing. So you can see him leaving the starting line on the first line of crushed cars, taking his time. Once he gets it down on the ground, I'm sure he'll nail the big 464. There we go. Under power, heading right for the camera. Over the last set of crushed cars on the first straightaway. Negotiating them quite well for that matter. The mark to beat here in this qualifying round. Still 46 seconds by the first blood Ford of Woodstock, Illinois' Rob Fuchs. The Schofield, Wisconsin driver Dave Stasic trying to better that mark. So you can see, using the independent front and rear steering that has become standard equipment on virtually any monster truck built for competition. He now lines himself up with one more set of crushed cars. Rather large hit there as the front end gets up and a little bit sideways. Stasic has to negotiate coming off those cars a little bit tougher, but now really stops on the throttle as he heads for the last set of crushed cars to try and get a decent enough elapsed time to make it into this field. Actually, with the problems just experienced by the Night Stalker, all Stasic really has to do is complete the course, and he'll be guaranteed a qualifying berth in this 6-truck program. Brings it over across the finish line, and now down to stop the elapsed timers at 1 minute 21.01 seconds, and that will currently put him in the number 4 position here in this 6-truck lineup. So the Mr. Twister machine makes it into the program, and here is the final qualifying attempt. A very, very popular truck in the Midwestern part of the country. Mark Reichert from Taylor Ridge, Illinois. The 1975 Ford F-250 called Intimidator. A wild, wild landing there off the first set of crushed cars as the 428 Cobra Jet powered F-250 moves it up to the last set of crushed cars on the front straight. Big wheel stand as he lands nice and clean. And now gets ready to swing it around to the back straight. The Taylor Ridge, Illinois Ford pilot, again, one of the local favorites here in one of his first big national championship events. He's got to better 46 seconds by Rob Fuchs's first blood Ford, and he is actually doing pretty good here. A little bit of a rough landing there on those 3 cars, but now he steps on that 428 Cobra Jet and heads for the last set of cars. Bringing it up. He makes the last hit very easily, trying to keep it close to the ground to maximize his elapsed time. The hood flops around. He nails it across the finish line and records a tremendous elapsed time of 56.31 seconds. That's good for number 2. Association Monster Truck action. We're now going into eliminations. 6 qualifiers will battle it out. The low qualifier, Rob Fuchs, the First Blood Ford, has been given an advancement into the semifinals on a byron. And now we get into side-by-side action to determine the other semifinalists. In the near lane from Pensacola, New Jersey, it's Nick Rossi in the Jersey Outlaw against Gary Schramm and Nebraska's Big Red. And Big Red runs into problems, and it will be a free ride for Nick Rossi to move up to the last set of cars and complete this run, as the Chevrolet from Lincoln, Nebraska of Gary Schramm ran into problems almost immediately. There's Schramm leaving the course. He has got to be disappointed. But newcomer Nick Rossi, in his sophomore year of Monster Truck racing, indeed puts down a good effort to advance to the semifinals in this straight drag racing style elimination format program. There you can see the problem that caused Schramm to get out of the throttle. He indeed got sideways, almost headed for the mud pit. Meanwhile, on the other lane in slow motion replay, you can see Nick Rossi being thrown around inside the cockpit of the incredible Jersey Outlaw Ford as he advances into the semifinal round, sticking with the throttle. You see Gary Schramm leaving the Byron Dragway course with his unique gull wing doors on this small block Chevrolet powered machine, unfortunately going out of competition in the first round. That will bring up an Illinois favorite, the Intimidator of Mark Reichert against the Mr. Twister 1987 Ford of Wisconsin Steve Stasek. The side-by-side launch, they leave the line on the green like Christmas tree start, and the Mr. Twister Wisconsin machine ekes out about a 3-foot lead. The Intimidator Ford is not going to give up, though, and this will be a battle down to the finish line. The Intimidator riding off the berm of the mud pit and getting a little squirrely. The Mr. Twister Ford of Stasek stays with it to record the win. A tremendously close battle, and the first round win for Stasek ever in U.S. Off-Road Association competition. Here you can see the Intimidator with the left rear tire muddy from hitting that mud pit, getting a little sideways in approaching these cars. He nails them hard, but you can see lands a little bit sideways and takes a wild bounce after coming back to earth. The front end still bouncing up and over as Mr. Twister in the other lane indeed hit those last set of cars just about perfect. Stasek's 12,000-pound lightweight 87 Ford short bed truck, a $130,000 masterpiece. In its first ever U.S. Off-Road Association event, takes one of the hardest hits we've seen at this event so far. The front end going straight up and then coming back down to ground to take the victory. From St. Louis, Missouri, it will be Ray Perkowski's Big Tow tow truck and the last qualifier, Steve Combs' Night Stalker, which ran into problems during the qualifying round. Perkowski's 20,000-pound Ford tow truck gets a huge advantage. Comes off the first set of cars a little rough, but meanwhile the Night Stalker nails the throttle to try and close the gap. Side-by-side monster truck action with the Wisconsin Night Stalker trying to come from behind. He's not going to do it, and he knows it. Slowing down to save the equipment on that last set of cars. He saw Perkowski's Big Tow go across the finish line well ahead of the Wisconsin full-bodied 79 Ford, and the Big Tow machine will also advance to the semifinals for the St. Louisan. Take a look at this 20,000-pounder as it clears the first set of crushed cars. Perkowski with his head out the driver's side window, trying to steer and negotiate by keeping an eye on that left front tire. But man, this thing is a rough ride because of the exceptional vehicle weight of this supercharged big block Ford-powered tow truck. Perkowski was landing quite nicely as the Night Stalker machine was busy taking the first set of crushed cars at a pretty decent clip. But as soon as Perkowski gained a serious advantage, Combs decided to save the equipment for the next U.S. Off-Road Association event. Look at this thing flexing, a tremendously strong vehicle that, like I said before, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of on the U.S. Off-Road Association National Event Trail. Well, the fans are ready for more monster truck competition. Now, we've already seen the quickest first-round winner, Ray Perkowski's Big Tow, advance to the final round to take on the low qualifier, Rob Fuchs's First Blood. But we still have 2 consolation battles to go, and these should be wild. The Nebraska's Big Red of Gary Schramm, the Chevrolet with small block power in the far lane, takes on the wild new Mr. Twister 87 Ford of Wisconsin's Dave Stasek in this consolation round. The Nebraska's Big Red machine comes off a little bit sideways from the first set of cars, but it is still a door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel monster truck battle going up to the last set of crush cars. Mr. Twister hits him first, but fogs out, and that will let the Chevrolet move in. A great side-by-side finish, and the Ford comes back to win it by only a matter of inches. Here, hanging out of the driver's side window on the replay, you can see Gary Schramm, the Lincoln, Nebraska newcomer with the small block Chevrolet-powered Big Red machine, trying to negotiate the same set of cars that gave him problems in that first qualifying round for the final round championship. Hanging out the window, keeping an eye on that left front wheel. It came down a little bit sideways again, but this time Schramm was able to recover and give the Mr. Twister Ford a definite run all the way down to the finish line. But watch Stasic in the other lane, straight up on a tremendous hit, then coming down nose first. That bogged the motor in the new 87 Ford short bed monster machine, but Stasic nailed the throttle to take the win by less than 5 feet in a tremendously close dash here at Byron Dragway. We still have one more consolation battle to go, though, including Nick Rossi's Jersey Outlaw from Pensacola, New Jersey, and this machine, the Ford from Taylor Ridge, Illinois, of Mark Reichert, the Intimidator. A big hole shot is a green light for the Jersey Outlaw, but the Intimidator starts to reel him in, and we've got another incredibly close battle. The Intimidator goes back out in front as Rossi runs into problems, and now it's a real dash to the finish line. Look at Rossi trying to reel him in, both in the air at the same time, both landing incredibly hard, and Rossi gets back in the throttle to take the win. Look at this incredible hit. Unbelievable landing as Rossi is thrown all over in the cockpit of that machine. He manages to stab the throttle with the wheels in the air to get back out in front of the Illinois Intimidator in a wild dash. Let's take a look at Reichert's problems as he puts the nose straight up on this hit of the Intimidator and also comes down nose first in a tremendously rough landing, bogging the motor and allowing the white Ford from New Jersey to come back around for the victory. An incredible side-by-side dash, but the championship final is still to come. Stay with us. Ray Perkowski from St. Louis, Missouri in the Big Toe Ford tow truck will be taking on this man, your low qualifier, Rob Fuchs, in Illinois' own First Blood. You can see the bent front end for the local Illinois racer after he hit the wall in that qualifying run. The green light comes on, however, and Perkowski immediately falls back by a few feet, now starts to come back around as Fuchs in the First Blood machine rides the berm of the mud pit. Now, Fuchs in the First Blood entry starts to drive away. He moves up for the last hit, getting airborne. Look at Perkowski. Unbelievable landing in the incredible Big Toe Ford. Look at this hit, and then watch the front end sheet metal as the wheels come up and literally tear the front end off that 20,000-pound truck. A tremendous and gallant runner-up effort for Ray Perkowski's Big Toe, but here's the winner, Rob Fuchs, taking his first ever National Event Championship in front of his hometown crowd in the incredible First Blood Ford. The only problem he had in that winning run was when the truck actually went up into the mud pit, but he straightened it out and took it through for the win. From what we understand from our event director, Ken Donay, Nick Rossi, the newcomer in the Jersey Outlaw, has challenged Fuchs in the First Blood Ford to a match race. They are back up on the starting line. They both want to go for it, so Ken Donay said, fine, you guys can race. We'll watch. Here's the Outlaw Ford, and here's your winner, Rob Fuchs, taking on the second challenge in front of his hometown fans. They are side by side in an unscheduled grudge match. The Outlaw runs into some problems. Fuchs is driving away again. The Outlaw starts to reel him in at the last set of cars. Fuchs, an incredible airborne jump sideways, and even the Outlaw gets crazy. But the crowd goes berserk as Rob Fuchs takes on all comers here at his hometown track and wins again in this unscheduled match race. Take a look at this airborne leap at the finish line. Rossi noses this thing into the concrete here at Byron Dragway and takes a wild ride, but it still wasn't enough to get back around Rob Fuchs. Unbelievable battle that was just an extra added attraction here for the fans at Byron Dragway. Here's the incredible flight of the First Blood Ford in this grudge match. Look at this launch, clearing all three cars, and then a rough landing for a machine that has already felt the abuse of this incredible event. Fuchs manages to keep the machine upright and takes another victory. Well, the crowd is just about out of breath, but we have one more vehicle coming out, and it's an exhibition run by the machine that started the tank craze. This is an Army M4 tank campaign during World War II with a rear-mounted, supercharged, fuel-injected Chevrolet Rat motor and a Chevy Blazer truck body. The original Virginia Beach Beast, owned by Bill Towns and driven here this weekend by Donnie Kessel. An amazing piece of equipment at 21,000 pounds. Look at that landing. And you have to remember these vehicles have no suspension, and it's one of the roughest rides for any driver in any form of motorsports. Kessel out thrilling the crowd with the antics of the 21,000-pound machine that doesn't just jump over the cars, it drives right through them. Now watch the landing that Kessel takes in the cockpit here. Man, that's a rough ride. No suspension to take the brunt of the impact. He comes down hard. Remember, this machine does not use a steering wheel to guide it. It's actually a twin stick system like a tank or a bulldozer, in which the driver applies or takes away power to each of the driving tracks. There's a nice little spin that shows you just how quick and tight these things can corner. The crowd ready and waiting for Mike Guest to take another hit on what's left of these crush cars. Huge leaping jump, and they love that landing. An amazing job by Virginia Beach's own Donnie Kessel at the wheel of Will Towns' awesome Virginia Beach Beast. A $90,000 masterpiece that 3 years ago was the first ever to incorporate military tank technology and monster truck styling to become one of the first of a new wave of monster machines. Another tremendous landing for Donnie Kessel at the wheel of this incredible vehicle that has spawned over 24 imitations of the original tank monster. Kessel opens up the door and salutes the Byron Dragway crowd, and we'll be back in today in the monster truck ranks as Rob Fuchs from Woodstock, Illinois, just up the road, took his first blood machine to the win in front of a hometown. The best monster trucks in the business here today. And in the super modified mud racing ranks, it doesn't seem to matter whether Greg Stone or Tom Martin is doing the driving of the 1932 Ford Mud Patrol. The defending 1988 World Super Modified champion came through with another big victory and
okay. Make sure we get the whole follow.
Well, Mud Shark